If you don't do that, you're gonna get wiped out. And I'm giving you 10 to 20 years to figure things out. All right, so I got this comment on a video that I made last week that I wanted to address because I thought it was actually a really good question and something that we should address. And that is Augusta Lawn Care going to wipe out every other landscaper and independent that currently is working? And this is on the heels of a video I made here. You can watch it about domination, and I likened the way that Amazon took over the market over the course of 20, 30 years in e-commerce to kind of the same direction how we're using Augusta Lawn Care to take a very segmented, broken apart industry like lawn care and landscaping, and in the future dominate it. So this is the question and the comment that was presented. So Justice Tiger 1980, which is kind of funny given what was said here. So nice of you to tell all your loyal followers how you plan to crush their little business that they are pouring their heart and soul into. I hope everyone is paying attention and reading between the lines. In one video, you tell everyone to raise their prices, and now you reveal that with your massive infrastructure, you plan to someday hit a price point with which they can't compete in, essentially wiping them out. So this is the deal. First and foremost, like Amazon, they will never control 100% of the market. They've really hit saturation around that 50 to 60% marker because there's still a lot of very competent people that do e-commerce. Walmart, literally Shopify is made up of small business owners that are crushing it over the past couple years and making tons of money doing exactly what Amazon did. And so at the end of the day, I truly believe when it comes to lawn care and landscaping, Augusta Lawn Care will only put the companies that do not listen to this content out of business. So for the person watching this, you should not be worried. You're going to probably be changing, evolving, educating yourself. And as technology begins to evolve, as the industry evolves, as we are constantly changing and improving what the customer's expecting in terms of professionalism, if you're adaptive, if you're willing to make those changes, you will not go out of business. You will absolutely make money. And as you've heard me talk about in the past, I truly believe that the next couple decades is going to be the golden era for lawn care and landscaping because the baby boomer generation that holds the wealth of our country is aging, and a lot of their wealth is wrapped up in real estate. They're going to want to make sure that their property is taken care of and that it is improved. I don't think there's any scarcity in terms of what is on the horizon for someone who's not at Augusta. Do I feel that in 10 to 15 years, a massive advantage will be going to someone who's a part of Augusta Nation? Absolutely. It's my business. I have that in my vision, and that's what we're trying to build. That is the moat we're trying to build, and I stand by everything I said in that last video. Let me also be clear by the fact that there's a lot of retailers that actually have really won and made a lot of money and been very successful doing exactly what Amazon could not do. And I've been very open and transparent about things that Augusta Lawn Care, as we scale, systematize, copy and paste, make many locations, there's gonna be things we cannot do. We don't focus on super high custom end jobs. We don't focus on work that takes highly skilled employees. There's gonna be no time in the world where we have 5,000 locations that do a bunch of excavation, tree work, arborist work. All of that we will never ever touch. So therefore, that's always gonna be a great opportunity to take advantage of and have a premium service that someone like a quote unquote Amazon of the lawn care industry doesn't do. And again, we're talking like 10 to 20 years. So if you're like, oh man, I'm worried you're gonna take me out, you got a long time to figure out how you can make sure you are evolving, constantly changing. But yes, I do believe that people who don't have a website, that do not have professional staff, that aren't trained and can communicate with the customers, that don't adopt technology when it comes to communication with video and audio with their team, as well as communication with the customer via having someone pick up the phone and have automations and credit cards on file and have a back-end office system. If you don't do that, you're gonna get wiped out. And I'm giving you 10 to 20 years to figure things out, and I'm giving you all the tools and resources, and I give you free videos. I've made over 1,000 free videos for you to figure out how to do things right. This is what you should be doing. And so if you want to consider it a warning, sure. But for most people watching this that are adaptive, growing, and they're gonna figure out a way to still survive, it doesn't matter if someone comes in and takes 30, 40% of the market. But for someone to think that they're going to dominate this market. They almost have to be out of their mind. So that's why some people would say I am. Right now, Brightview holds less than 2% of the value and the market share of lawn care and landscaping. And by the way, it's like almost 0% of residential lawn care and landscaping services. So the ideology that someone's going to come in and let's just do say a $20 billion company, they're literally going to have still a small piece of the pie. There's a whole lot of revenue out there to build massive businesses in this industry. I truly believe that a rising tide floats all boats, unless they are anchored down. And so if you're watching this content and you've been following and you have lawn care web design and you followed the course and you watch these videos and you implement things like lawncarebookkeeper.com, and even if you don't use my services, but you actually adopt the psychology of culture and using P4P to be competitive with labor, if you do all those things, you're gonna be just fine. So if you're anchored down to the way you've been doing things for the past 20 years, if you're anchored down to the idea that technology is going to disrupt this industry over the next couple decades, if you are oblivious and blocking off the ideology that you need software on your side to control labor and have systems and communicate, if you're blocking yourself off that and you're anchored down on old mentalities, yes, you will sink. But if you're buoyant, if you are adaptive and willing to grow and learn, you will absolutely ride the wave and the current and the tide that Augusta would become wind at your back. But if you are willing to be buoyant and willing to rise with that tide and make changes in your business, it'll only do good for you, your business, and for your profit margins. And just keep in mind the math here. Even if Augusta Lawn Care gets 1,000 or 2,000 locations in North America, we are still a tiny, tiny little fraction of the number of landscaping businesses that will be in operation. The thing that's going to put people out of business is not Augusta Lawn Care getting more locations. It's going to be people's inability to adapt to the technology that comes about from Augusta being able to have the resources to reinforce certain industry standards that we believe in. We believe that customers should get their phone call answered right away. We do not believe that estimates should take 3-4 weeks to get back to a customer. We do not believe that putting cash or check underneath the customer's front door's mat is a good customer experience. And we do not believe that having people smoking, drinking, half drunk, on drugs, on a customer's property is the standard for this industry, and it has put an absolute bad reputation on what lawn care and landscapers are looked to as, because we are seen as like entry level. My goal is to change that. And we're going to use our technology to make the landscaping professional a profession, a trade, like you think of an electrician or a plumber. And so for the people that don't adapt to that, they're not going to be able to compete. And we've started with something simple like P4P, P4Psoftware.com. It is a system that takes labor and makes it more efficient. That's just the tip of the iceberg as we begin to use technology. Whether or not you get on that train, whether or not you ride that wave and that current as it begins to rise, as the tide begins to rise, whether or not you stick in your heels and like, oh no, like I'm not doing that, I'm doing hourly, it's so much easier, I've done it for a long time, it's worked just fine. If that is your mentality, you will fail. And it's not gonna be Augusta Lawn Care that puts you out of business. Every single Augusta Lawn Care did not exist tomorrow, you'd still eventually be put out of business because there's opportunity and capitalism is efficient. And as technology gets more and more efficient, that is the thing that's going to wipe out 60 to 80% of lawn care operators in this industry, is going to be their inability to embrace, adapt to, and take advantage of technology. We are literally 10 to 20 years behind where the precipice of technology is, and as that gets introduced, whether or not you jump on that ride is going to be the determining factor of whether or not you can find employees, whether or not you're able to compete with chucking a truck down the street that's doing cash on the table. You will not be able to compete with that person. You will not be able to compete with that self-employed individual. I know how hard it is to compete with someone doing lawns for $15 or $20. The only way you'll be able to compete with that while doing it legally is through technology. And so in the next 10 to 20 years, adapting that technology, adapting systems like P4P to systematize labor and create systems around your business so it's not all running on you and how hard you work and how great you are at selling, but rather it runs on systems. That will be the determining factor of whether or not Augusta Lawn Care or any other business or any other technology wipes you out or you ride the wave of innovation. I truly believe that everyone listening to this is not complacent, they're not sitting back on their laurels, and they're not going to allow things to change in this industry without adapting and constantly staying ahead of the curve. That's why I make this content, that's what Augusta stands for, and that's why every single franchisee at Augusta Lawn Care, the standard by which we allow them into the system comes down down to whether or not they're willing to help their competitors, whether or not they're willing to step in and help when someone's truck goes down, whether or not they're willing to meet for lunch. We do not look at this as a winner-take-all approach. We truly want the people that are working around us to succeed, because a rising tide floats all boats. And if we all have a higher level of professionalism, if we all treat our employees correctly, that will improve the professionalism, that will improve the perception, and that will improve the margins of our businesses. Whether or not someone joins Augusta Lawn Care, I'm not really too concerned with. My goal at the end of the day with Augusta is to change the level of professionalism in the industry. And if fear is the only thing that's going to make someone do that because they're afraid we're going to wipe them out, mission accomplished, because we're going to change this industry one way or another. My name is Mike Andes. I'm the founder of Augusta Lawn Care. If you'd like to check out more resources to help you grow your lawn care, your landscaping business, go to mikeandes.com. We'll see you there.